In this video, we discuss 7 non-money financial levers that you can pull to dramatically increase your financial quality of life in retirement. Coming up next on Holy Schmidt.
Holy Schmidt!
For most people, once they get into retirement, saving and getting ready for retirement financially has come to an end. At least it has come to an end the way that it was back in the day. At this point, we enter a different phase, and this is the maintenance and slow wind down of capital phase. In this phase, you're not as concerned about putting money away as you are about managing the money that you have. This video is going to discuss how to maximize your funds and at the same time not change the quality of life in retirement. So let's get into it. But before we do, please make sure you click subscribe and turn on notifications so that you get alerted the next time I post a video. I post about twice a week. All right, let's go. Point number 1 is what I call time arbitrage. Time arbitrage effectively means that you are giving up a bit of time to maximize your funding in retirement. There are so many things in this category. In fact, this category is one that many retirees use quite often because it is their number one hammer, if you want to use that term, in terms of how to get the most out of retirement. You have a lot of time. Let's talk about some of the subcategories of this. The first is DIY, do it yourself. In retirement, you have a lot of opportunity to DIY. Now, DIY gets a bad rap, particularly from people that tried it when they were working and were unsuccessful. The reason that they were unsuccessful is because they had to work, they had to raise a family, they had to potentially do other things outside of work and raising a family, other commitments, maybe charities or other elements in their lives that just required a lot of time. So when you overlaid the DIY element, it just became too much and they did it badly. Now you have nothing but time, and frankly, DIY might even be enjoyable. Think about home maintenance for a second. You hire a repairman to come in and fix something simple simply because you just don't feel like doing it. Well, now that you have the time, not only is it something you could do, you might be interested in finding out how something works. Landscaping. In retirement, you have time to mow your own lawn. You may not have had time to do that when you were working, but now that you are out of the game, not only mowing your lawn, but cutting your bushes, pruning your trees, everything that you paid someone else to do before might become some source of massive enjoyment in retirement, and you'll save money in the process. The big one, of course, is cooking. Now, when we are working, oftentimes, I know I do it, we'll order in or we will eat out to save time. But when you have nothing but time, preparing a home-cooked meal not only is more nutritious, but it is probably more enjoyable for you, or potentially more enjoyable anyway if you get good at it, and will certainly save you a ton of money. And then there are the other time elements, not DIY time elements, but time arbitrage elements. For example, off-peak fares. When you travel to or from the city, if you're on a train, or if you're going to go on vacation, or if you're going to go visit a family member, flying out on a Monday and coming back on a Thursday will be a lot less expensive in most cases than flying out on a Thursday and coming back on a Sunday. Point 2 is exhibiting spending control. My mom used to call it the spendies. When I was a kid, I received an allowance of $1 per week. And I would take that dollar and I would immediately run down to the candy store. Different era, you wouldn't see that today. But at the time, it was the thing to do. And I would do it with other kids my own age. So we would all convene at the candy store, usually on a Friday, and just go nuts, at least as nuts as you can go with $1 worth of candy. I'd come home and I'd show the bounty to my parents, and my mom would say that I had the spendies, that it was burning a hole in my pocket. It had to get out of my pocket as fast as it went in. And she was right. But once she identified that character trait in me, I started to think about things a little bit differently, which is remarkable for someone who was less than 12 years old. At that age, once she pointed it out, I stopped going to the corner store on Friday and I started saving money. And over the course of a year, by the time I turned 13 in this case, I had saved $36. I still remember it to this day. It was the best money lesson I ever learned because my mom pointed out the fact that I had the spendies. So what are the spendies? It's the itch to buy something even though you don't know what it is, you just need to spend money. Spending money fires off some chemical reaction in the brain and makes you feel good at that moment in time. It almost doesn't matter what it is that you're purchasing. It could be a car, it could be a model train, it could be a pack of gum. It doesn't matter. You just have the urge to go out and buy something. Now here's what you do to combat the spendies. First, if it's a big purchase, wait 24 hours. If you walk into a car dealership, don't buy the car. It doesn't matter if it's the last day, it's always the last day. You get the point. Go in and look at what you want. Come back and wait 24 hours. This is called a cooling off period. If you still want it, try going out and buying something very small and see if that manages to deal with the itch to spend. Instead of buying a car, buy a model car. If that doesn't do it and you really do need to buy a car, do the research, do it right, make sure that you get the best deal possible. I have other videos on this channel for that, but take your time and manage the spend. Point 3 is turning off auto renew on all of your subscriptions and other related types of purchases. Let's start off by saying auto renew is a company's best friend. Now, why is this? Because you only have to make the sale once and you have repeat business for years in many cases. And even if it crosses someone's mind to cancel, psychologically, people do not want to give that up, so they don't. And it's a small number if you're talking about one auto renew item. It usually is a small number anyway. In fact, the purchase is almost invisible. It's $14.95 a month, $19.95 a month, maybe $29.95 a month. At those levels, it's pretty hard for you to feel the difference with one subscription. But most people don't have one. They have 2 or 3 or 5. So when something auto-renews, write it down. Oftentimes you find out after the fact. In fact, put it in a notebook or on your digital calendar to review that spend before next month. And then as the charge approaches, well, at that point in time, make a decision. If you think you're going to use it, continue on. But my guess is with a lot of your auto-renew items, they are not going to be meaningful to you. And once you cancel them, your quality of life will start to improve because you have the extra money, especially if you're doing it 3 or 4 or 5 times. Point 4 is that sometimes you need to spend money to save money. And what I'm referring to in many cases is a hobby of some sort. Time is quite possibly the #1 enemy of money in retirement. We have a lot of time, we have a lot of things that we want to dabble in, and we start to major in minor things. And each one of those minor things costs money. It may not be a lot, or maybe it is a lot, but the point is you don't really get anything out of it because you haven't really committed to a direction. It's really just a way to fill time. But if you spend $100 on a hobby, but you save $300 in random spending, your net cash flow is $200 better. You spent a little bit of money to save a lot of money. I'll give you a concrete example of exactly what I'm talking about. For me, my hobby or activity is golf. I love to golf. Golf is not inexpensive. But golf is not just about going out and spending $100 or $200 at the golf course to rent a cart and go play 18 holes with a buddy. Golf sometimes means going to the driving range and working on your swing, or buying a book on how to improve your swing, or studying the course map of the course that you're going to be playing at next month so that you understand where everything is. The point is, a hobby or an activity that you love uses up some money, but it uses up a lot of time. Point 5 is engaging in continuing education. Now, this is a funny one because people don't really equate learning more to saving money. Let's talk about the actual act of learning. If you were to spend time in a classroom or reading a how-to book, that takes time away from the other activities that you would be spending money on, just like we talked about with a hobby. But what if you learned how to maintain your heating and air conditioning, how to cut your lawn properly, how to trim your bushes properly? What if you spent time educating yourself on the cheapest gas stations in your area, how to use the discount apps on your phone, or spending time how to maximize the fun on your upcoming vacation on a budget? Education is all of the above and much, much more. Anytime you have the opportunity to learn, you have the opportunity to find out how to do something better, cheaper, and how to use your time more effectively. Point 6 is reviewing your checking account statement every single month. Out of all of the things you do, this is quite possibly the easiest and one of the most effective ways to maximize your cash flow in retirement. Looking at your checking account statement every month is like a pro football player watching the tapes on Monday morning after the game has been played. You can't change the outcome of the game, but you can learn from what you did wrong and then improve. The same thing with reviewing your checking account statement every single month. By going through line by line and understanding where you're spending your money, you can also understand when something comes up similar to what you have on your statement, you may or may not want to purchase it the next time around. And just the act of thinking about how you're spending your money in and of itself helps you spend your money better. You also find other leaks in the account. If other people have a debit card attached to your account, for example, and you didn't know that the funds were going out in a certain direction, it would certainly create the opportunity to have a discussion. It also works the other way. Not only can you manage your less useful spending, but you see what you did right so that you can do more of it. The last one, and it is one with 2 exclamation points here, is budgeting. Now, budgeting is not a 4-letter word. Every successful person, with rare exception, sticks to a budget. It is true that what you budget depends on who you are and how much you have. Some people budget the cost of fuel for their car. Other people budget the cost of fuel for their private jet. Conceptually, it's the same thing. It's just the size is different. Public and private companies do the exact same thing. If you're a company like General Mills, you have a lot of input costs related to things like grains. And so you buy those in bulk and you probably negotiate pretty hard with your vendors. Travel is a big one for most companies. Buying travel in bulk is a way to keep costs down. And these are companies that have a lot of money. They make a lot of money. They're very profitable, yet they still manage their costs. Now let's talk about the truth when it comes to a budget. The biggest challenge with the budget isn't that people don't want to go on a budget. There are people that feel that way, of course. The biggest challenge is that people don't even know what a budget means in most cases. Does being on a budget mean not eating out once a week, growing your own vegetables, keeping the thermostat down, carpooling? I don't know. It depends on who you are. And most people feel exactly the same way. They don't know. Fortunately, things are a lot easier today compared to back in the day when my parents were budgeting. There is software that can help you very easily determine a budget, set up a budget. My favorite, and I receive no compensation whatsoever from this company, is a program called You Need a Budget, or YNAB. It's free for the first month, then it runs $14.95 a month. They claim that you'll save up to $600 a month in spending, maybe, but it's certainly worth $14.95 a month if you save $15 a month or more. I'll put a link in the description below to YNAB so that you have it. Again, it's not an affiliate link, it's just one to the company so that you can check out what they have. If you found this video useful, please make sure you click the like button below. The like button tells YouTube that this is a video that it should push up in the search results, and I want to help as many people as possible. Speaking of helping others, if you have a friend or a family member, somebody you know who can use the information in this video, please make sure you click the share button below. As I said, I want to help as many people as possible. This is Jeff Schmidt. Thanks for watching.